My name's Guy Chambers, and I wrote the music for the show.
I'm Bruce O'Neill. I'm the head of music for the Royal Shakespeare Company, and I'm music supervisor for Boy in the Dress.
I was asked about 2.5 years ago if I wanted to write it, partly through David Williams. He mentioned he was doing something with the RSC, and I said, oh, it's interesting. And I think he might have told Mark Ravenhill that I was interested. And then Mark actually officially asked me. And initially it was just me. They asked me to do it. And then I thought I should ask Robbie Williams to do it with me, for obvious reasons, that he's a brilliant lyricist and he understands football. And football is I never go to see football. I'm not interested in it. But for Rob, it's his biggest love, really, apart from music. So, yeah.
And then we had a script read through about 2.5 years ago. Guy and Robbie wrote the songs, and they had an email come through saying, here are the demos. And it was my own private Robbie Williams album. It's amazingly fully formed, produced songs. So that was an absolute gift, because I suppose there were probably some people in the RSC thinking, what are we going to get from these guys? And they probably breathed a huge sigh of relief, because we had a great big sack of hits there. And so we had a workshop in December 17, put the script and songs together. We've had a number of workshops since then. So we're now in week 4 of rehearsals.
We followed the stage play very carefully, because in Mark's stage play it said this is where the song is, and I think he even had suggested titles, but we didn't use those. But yeah, we followed. We did a combination of looking very closely at the play, and then keep going back to the book as well for ideas, and yeah, I'm not overthinking it. I'm not trying to be too clever. Like the first song is pretty much the opening line in the book. I think the main inspiration is from ourselves and our early work. So that's the first album, which came out in 1997. So I think it's not nostalgic for that, because to me the book is nostalgic. There's no mobile phones in the book. So it's not set now. It's not obvious when it's set, actually. My guess is that it's the 90s or maybe late 80s. But so we wanted it to have a sense of that classic Robbie sound, which I think of Angels and Let Me Entertain You and that sort of period, as opposed to there's no rapping in the show. Let's put it as, but not that there's anything wrong with rapping, but we wanted it to be incredibly melodic and songs that people could definitely sing along to and stand up and move to, and like a gig, in that sense.
So I suppose really what I've ended up doing is trying to put in place a framework so that we can facilitate the amount of collaboration that needs to take place when you put together a new musical. We've got Alan Williams, musical director, who's incredibly experienced in the West End. Laura Bangay is associate music director, and she's looking after the kids as well, because we've got a number of kids in the cast. Tom Deering is orchestrating. And as I said, the songs came very fully formed. So Tom's got quite an interesting job, because he needs to sort of stay faithful to the sound world of those songs, but then also facilitate that for our 11-piece band. And obviously, as you work on the piece more, it begins to suggest to you what needs to happen with the material. It's the old content dictates form. So we start to recognise where the really emotionally significant themes and material is, and what effect that has if you then weave that in somewhere else. So I suppose I've just helped facilitate that process and just been liaising with Guy as the process has continued into rehearsals, and between myself and Alan we're helping to tease out those arrangements in the rehearsal room and give Alita what she needs in terms of facilitating staging choreography. And then sometimes we've gone back to Guy and said, we need a whole new little tranche of material here because there's a football match going on, or sometimes we've actually moved a song that used to be in the first half, moved it to the second half, completely replaced the lyrics. So the material itself has sometimes gone through quite an evolution, and ultimately I think my role is just to make sure we don't mess it up, and so they can sit there on opening night and go, yeah, that's what we plan to do.